Pennsylvania, and they still had, her father was still there. He lived a long time, totally blind. Harry's job for his mother was to walk Grandpa around. This is a wonderful story. Walk Grandpa around on his, give him an evening walk. Remember, he was blind. And they would walk around the town. As they were walking around, the old man would sing the old spirituals to Harry. Harry grew up and got a couple of good gigs in New York City. He learned Hebrew. He worked in a temple for a while. He sang in several churches. He published music. He is the one who wrote the first of the spirituals. Deep River, Were You There? Steal Away, which I'm going to play for you. These are Harry Burleigh's arrangements. These were all published beginning in 1917, right in the middle of World War I. And then in the 20s and 30s, Swing Low Sweet Chariot began to bring in some money. People were interested in these spirituals. These are all Harry Burleigh's. Harry Burleigh would live to 1949, and he would finally pass away at a retirement home in Stamford, Connecticut. And so this is a book of history here. This is the best collection you'll ever see. There are 49 of the great spirituals. A lot of them are in the dialect. The river Jordan, as opposed to river. I seize you, you may bury me in the east instead of the east, because of the dialect. A lot of that is the Gola dialect of South Carolina, which George Gershwin used in Porgy and Bess. I love you, Porgy. Bess, you is my woman. It's not a matter of bad English, it's a matter of reworking the language after the years of slavery, making something theirs. That's what he was doing. This is a real great story. So I think what I would do first is I'll play for you Steal Away, and then my co-star, Ingmar, has co-starred with me many times. He's going to be playing, what's the first one you're going to play? In the Garden.
That's the first one.
Okay. We'll do one of them with the piano and one of them with the organ. So this is Steal Away. Steal Away is a wonderful, wonderful piece. Steal Away, and this has to do with a meditative time. Quite often in spirituals you have the river. The crossing the river can mean not just the Jordan River, which is just like on the side of Jerusalem's in the middle, the Mediterranean's over here. So it's a tiny little cut to the Jordan River. I think starts out the Sea of Galilee and goes down and dead ends in the Dead Sea. That's the border, the eastern border of Israel, and that's the Jordan, big country right next to it. Come in here. Come in. No ID is necessary. Come in. Yes. All right. We're doing spirituals. This is Harry Burleigh. Harry Burleigh. And his mother, the mother was a slave. The father was an Englishman. So he is one of many, many mixed race people that we have in the history of our country. So, all right. So the first one I'm going to play for you is Steal Away. Then we're going to bring Ingmar up. This is from one of my publications. This is the company Jazz News. My manager and I formed many years ago. So this is Steal Away. And then I put another page here so I only have to turn one page. So this piece was dedicated to Vance Harper Jones, an organist in the Deep South, who had played a lot of my music. So this is Steal Away. It's one of the spirituals in this great collection of Harry Burleigh. So you all now know who Harry Burleigh was. A great man. He lived to 1949. Wonderful, wonderful. His mother, when she left, she had been abandoned at one point, and then an Englishman helped her, and they had a brief relationship, and the happy result of that was in 1866 with Harry Burleigh, who would live to 1949. It's a great, great story. And it's a story that can only happen here. Do I need the mic, or can you hear me all right? Okay. I'm going to go without the mic for now, Mike.
Where's your mic?
Okay.
Is it there?
All right, here we go.
He said he doesn't need it.
Now,
We can't hear you on Zoom without the mic, though.
We can't hear you on Zoom without the mic.
Okay.
Hello to the Zoom people. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. I'm holding it back a little bit. Hello to the Zoom people. We're doing Steal Away, my arrangement of Steal Away, which was actually written in 97. I wrote it the first spring of 97, my first spring here at this church. So this is Steal Away. These are nice, sweet sounds. I'm going to add a pedal. Here's a pedal. And if you watch the shades, everyone look up there for a moment, up at the front. Do you see the shades going up and down? Look at the bottom of the pipes. Remember, those are faux pipes. They're not real pipes. They're for show. The old French word. So watch what happens when I close them down. Now when I open them up, so that's one of the ways we can get expression at the organ. I'm using flutes and string sounds. This is a viol and viola, about as close as you can get to a string sound with a pipe. Now we're going to add a little tremulant to that and add the bass. And here comes the melody. This is a sort of clarinet sound. There are other sounds we can find. If we do the crumhorn sound, that's sort of like an oboe. I like this one better. Okay, here we go. And we also have this sound, which is a nice bright flute. So here comes Steal Away in a couple of transformations, and then I'm going to bring my co-star up, okay? Hello to the people on Zoom. So this could be the end of someone's life. This could be a steal away, going away. It could be a song you would sing on your way to the Underground Railroad, which is a way to escape slavery back in the day. Okay? So here we go on with the rest of the song.
wonderful sound with the organ. So
this is the meaning of the spirituals. The spirituals are a source of comfort. The people would have been taken to whatever the churches they would have seen. We actually have an organ very much like the organs that they would have heard. It's in Upper Packard Hall. It was at the Preterotis home. I supervised us moving it out. Mike and I and some other people went over there and moved it into Upper Packard Hall. It's up on the stage with the old piano that used to be here in the sanctuary. It was an organ that was built, a pump organ, that was built in 1861. So that's right when the Civil War started. So there's a lot of history around this building. So it's not just the people who are old, there's a lot of other things there. So we have a great pleasure here in having Ingmar with us. So Ingmar, would you like to play why don't you play In the Garden?
Yeah, first I got a question.
Okay.
What is a spiritual exactly?
Well, okay. The college professor answer. How am I doing on the microphone, Mike?
Good.
Doing okay? Yeah. Mike says the mic is fine. Good. The college professor definition, the spiritual is an African-American style religious song. That's all. So they were taken to churches once it was believed that they had souls. You can't believe the racism in these years. That souls, so they could be converted to Christianity, and many of the old African religions are completely different. And there was a lot of animism, worship of nature, as a lot of cultures have done. In fact, a lot of the Christian calendar, such as it is, follows agriculture. You know, the harvest time and in the spring and the winter and all of that. So the spirituals were the creations of the African people, before we call them African Americans. I think we should always call them African Americans. A lot of the college professors, they have different terms. That's the term used by the Smithsonian Institute, and they know more about it. So African American is the right term. And once the people were exposed to the stories in the Old and New Testament, they began to create songs. So we have Moses down in Egypt land and all of that, based on the images in the book of Genesis, going into Exodus, which is the coming out and all of that. And then we've got David and Jonathan. We got a lot of characters. The Old Testament has umpteen characters. There are some real racy characters in the Old Testament. There's a few in the New, but more in the Old Testament. And we've got David and Goliath and all of that. So these were creations of the people. So they were taken to churches and hearing some hymns and some of the religious songs. They would have heard Amazing Grace, which was published 1830 and 31. They would have heard some of these songs, and then they went back and created the spirituals. It was all done by ear. They would make the spirituals up, create the words with a lot of dialect, make up their melodies and harmonies. It wasn't until Harry began to write them out that anybody had any idea of what spiritual was going to be in what key. Because Harry had musical training, and he had a publishing group. He was quite something. The story of Harry Burley is a real all-American success story. He transcends the barrier and the confusion of the slave period, and he brings us into 1949, and when he finally passes away at the home in Stamford. Harry Burley. Does that answer that question?
That answers that question, but that leads me to another question.
I love it.
How would I know a spiritual if I didn't know that it was written by an African American or Harry Burley or somebody? What makes a spiritual different?
This, well, okay. Yes,
I just wanted to say that
absolutely.
they were written a lot in the camps when they would meet together as kind of yearning their own music for worshiping God. And it had a lot to do, they were really into Moses in the Old Testament, because Moses delivered the people of Egypt out of slavery. So they saw Moses as the image of what they
Yep.
wanted, to deliver them out of slavery. They saw, like you talked about, these Old Testament images of God bringing them to a promised land. And a lot of times when they talked about deliverance, it wasn't sin, even though it might be in the words. It was delivering them from the master. And I'm done. So a lot is that way, but you know, the
So
feel of it.
if I came across a hymn that had a lot of Moses in there,
Well, I
Old
think that
Testament
there's,
characters, it's probably a spiritual.
and it doesn't sound like a white middle, out of the white Middle Ages European song. You know, it sounds more like
Yeah,
an
yeah.
African American.
The image of slavery draws upon the African American experience. This is what happens when you get a minister and a blabbermouth college professor.
It's like, you guys, we're not here
It's all right.
taking all your time.
No, it's fine. But another way of thinking of it, it's a form of folk music. It is folk music, so it does not have the same kind of organization and sound as a hymn, which is mostly very, very white, very Anglo-Saxon, and from the European tradition. Now, why don't you play?
I enjoy music 101. I never had it.
Oh, Music 101, you pay attention. We're going to have a pop quiz shortly here. Now, this is in the garden. First one, I'll play the organ with you, and then we'll do another one on the piano. Or shall I just stay over here? I should play one on the piano, shouldn't I? Yeah.
I use this mic, does this mic work?
All right, here. There you go. We've got the mic, Mike. Yeah. Okay, I'll turn this one off. Now, this one goes out to Charlotte Severance, my old friend Charlotte, who always sat right over there with Ray, and then we played Ray's service when he passed. And Charlotte and I talk every now and then. She has asked me for this song 3 or 4 times, and once when we were doing the Zoom, I played it for her. This is In the Garden. Now, this isn't a spiritual, because this is more of a church-based from the what we would.
227 in the cellist. Cut to the chase here.
This is Ingmar.
I mean, you're supposed to start playing.
Just start playing.
Isn't this great? Aren't you glad you came here? Yes. Now, what's your first note so I'll know what key you're in? Okay, I got you. Go ahead and start.
This is Ingmar. Ingmar can be heard from time to time in our morning services. Yes. Allison lets him play every now and then. Ingmar, where are you from?
I'm from Midwest, Illinois.
From Illinois. Well, I'm from Kansas, but I've been away a long time.
Well, I'm from, yeah, I have to, Naperville.
Oh, wonderful. What's the big city close?
Chicago.
Ah, Chicago. Yeah, all right. All right, so what's our next song going to be?
Well, it depends on if I can find my harmonica.
This is one of the successes of church music programs. You use the talent that is there. I've always tried to cultivate that and do that. All 25 or 26 years that I've been here, so, all right.
This is Spirit of God, descend upon my heart.
Did you show them what I have here?
You show me.
From my collection, look at that. It's trouble. The thing with harmonica, you blow for one note and then you inhale for the next. So, it's a breathing trick. You like one is blow and then you pull the note. So.
Then you draw twice.
And yeah. It's a little complicated. I do music with my fingers. I've not. All right. So, which this one is?
You got me all scrambled.
Spirit of God, descend.
Okay. I have to play that one. Spirit of God, descend upon my heart.
Okay. What's your last name?
Play it lower and play it high.
What is your last name?
Egan.
Egan?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think it's still.
Isn't this wonderful? Listen, I forget things all the
It's a
time.
Norwegian.
Oh, Norwegian. Yeah. Wonderful. All right. Man from Oslo plays for us today. Give me your first note so I can find your key right away. I got you. That's Ingmar. All right, I'm going to run to the piano and play one. Now, On Sunday, I'm honoring a young man, Clifford Brown, who was very well known in the jazz community. He came from a gospel tradition, as many of us do in the jazz community. I grew up in Wichita, Kansas, in the Assemblies of God, a real super fundamentalist and all of that. And so a lot of us who come from that tradition also have a link to gospel tradition. So Clifford Brown, this is a wonderful little piece written by Benny Golson, one of the great performers in the history of big band. And you say, well, can you do this in church? Of course we can. It's about inspiration. This young man lived to be 25, was killed very suddenly in a car accident, and he was really on his way up. He was a tremendous talent. And my feeling is when we remember people who are gone, don't they sort of live again? Just if only for a moment. The image and the memory of them live again. So we do this with the idea of remembering Clifford Brown. So this is about love of music and love for fellow human beings and other performers who have gone before us, wherever they gather, wherever they go. So this is I Remember Clifford. I'm going to be playing this Sunday morning. It'll be a longer version. This will be our prelude, I believe, on Sunday. So thank you all for being here, those of you on Zoom. Am I doing okay on the mic, Mike? Thank you. Thank you. you. Thank you very much. All that came from this little page here. And really what we have here is what we call a lead sheet. This has a melody note and chords and a little section where you repeat back and whatever, so you can get it all on one page. It's the kind of thing jazz people are very used to reading, whereas classical musicians have every note written out. So I remember Clifford. Isn't that a lovely tune? And that's the memory of this wonderful young man. He had just been married for about a year and a half or 2 years and died very suddenly. And so a lot of other people in the music world were honoring him. This is one of the ways we honor people. I've lost a lot of people in my years, and I've honored many of them. My Song of the Wind honored my friend Douglas, and it took 3 or 4 years to write that. Newtown Requiem, which I really wanted to do this year, I wanted to bring that back because it's been 12 years since all of that happened in Newtown. I wanted to bring that back, but we can't do Palm Sunday yet. So if we do a program maybe in the fall, I would like to bring back Newtown Requiem again. And that's one that I wrote, you know, remembering all of that. All right, I guess we've been here long enough. Do you want to play one more for us? No. You're done, okay.
You can play one more if you like.
Oh, I should play, okay. What would you like to hear?
No, I talked too much, so I took some of your time, I think.
Which one?
How about God Bless America?
God Bless America? Sure. Why not? Why not? All we need is Kate Smith. Now, the younger people are not going to know who that is. Remember, in 1938, this college professor thing again here, in 1938, Roosevelt was pretty sure we were going to wind up in war again in Europe because of the Nazis on the rise, and Roosevelt had been elected in 32 and then again in 36. Kate Smith had signed on to do a song to sell war bonds to make money for the war effort, that everybody knew this was, my mother's told me all of this, that's a little bit before I was born. And so the State Department, somebody in the State Department said, well, why don't you ask Irving Berlin if he has a song? So she went to Irving, he reached into his trunk, and he gave her God Bless America. And that's how that became such a hit song. It helped sell war bonds in 1938 and 39, and then once the attack on Pearl Harbor in 41, we were off into World War II and all of that. But Kate Smith was later introduced to Queen Elizabeth in the mid-50s after she became queen. Irving Berlin introduced her as, this is Miss America. She is America. Not from, she is America. Kate Smith. So this will be God Bless America. I'm going to do the opening part. You don't usually hear that opening part when the storm clouds gather far across the sea and all of that. So, special request for you. Yes, dear. She's getting it on film. I'll call ASCAP. It's all right.
Dr. Joe, you have a request from Zoom for a beautiful night as well? Beautiful night.
Oh, okay, all right. A request from Zoom, okay. Which one first? We'll do God Bless
Beautiful
America.
night, beautiful night. They close with God Bless America.
Okay, all right, got it.
Thank you. Ed has an idea. Okay. All right. We're going to do a Beautiful Night, my famous piece, Beautiful Night, which is written as a Christmas anthem. And then I'll close with God Bless America. Okay? A final, an oleo or medley. You like that word, oleo? I got that from the crossword puzzle. A 4-letter word that means medley, oleo. I'll stop now. Thank you. Thank you very much. That was a medley. Thank you for being here. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mike. How do we do, Mike?
Perfect.
You all right? Okay. I'll give you this. I'll just put it in here.
Yes.
No, I was gonna